Welcome back to Old Coin Adventures. There's a reason you shouldn't overlook an old 1966 Roosevelt dime. What looks like an ordinary 10-cent coin could become surprisingly valuable if it has the right combination of condition, variety, or a genuine mint-made error. And here's where the story gets interesting. Millions of these dimes were produced, so most examples are common. But a small number stand out from the crowd. And some of the finest certified examples have reached thousands of dollars. So what makes one 1966 dime ordinary, while another can attract serious collector money? Stay with me until the very end, because I'm going to show you exactly what to look for, explain the unusual varieties and errors collectors search for, reveal the PCGS values and the real auction price this coin has reached, and show you where you can safely sell a valuable example. I'll also explain how to protect yourself from fake buyers, lowball offers, and coin-selling scams. And if you enjoy discovering valuable coins hiding in ordinary pocket change, subscribe to Old Coin Adventures and stay with me until the end. Because by the time we finish, you'll know exactly why some 1966 Roosevelt dimes are worth far more than 10 cents. Let's go back to 1966. The United States was in the middle of a major change in its coinage. A year earlier, the mint had moved away from silver dimes and began producing Roosevelt dimes with a copper-nickel-clad composition. That means the 1966 Roosevelt dime is not a silver dime, even though it comes from the same Roosevelt dime series that had contained silver just a few years earlier. And that makes the year 1966 especially interesting for collectors. The Philadelphia Mint produced roughly 1.3 billion regular strike 1966 Roosevelt dimes. That sounds like an enormous number, and it is. So simply finding a 1966 dime does not mean you've discovered a rare coin. But here's where things get interesting. Some examples survived in unusually high condition, and others can show special varieties or genuine mint errors. One of the most important things to understand is the difference between a normal coin, a damaged coin, and a true mint-made error. For example, if you see what looks like doubling around the date or lettering, don't immediately assume it's a valuable double die. Coins can develop what collectors call machine doubling, and post-mint damage can also create strange-looking shapes. A genuine variety needs to be examined carefully. Use good lighting, and if possible, magnification. Look closely at the date, Liberty, In God We Trust, and the lettering on the reverse. You're looking for unusual characteristics that are actually part of the struck design, not scratches or damage that happened after the coin left the mint. There is another interesting area collectors search for on 1966 dimes: special mint set, or SMS, examples. Some documented 1966 SMS varieties show unusual doubling on the reverse lettering and flame tips. One documented variety, for example, shows extra thickness around United States of America, the upper leaves, and the flame tips. These are the kinds of details that can make variety hunting so interesting. And then there is condition, which can completely change the value of a coin. A worn 1966 dime that spent decades circulating may be worth very little above face value. But an exceptionally preserved example can be much more desirable. According to PCGS, the 1966 Roosevelt dime becomes considerably scarcer in extremely high grades. PCGS notes that MS-68 examples are very scarce. And that brings us to one of the biggest lessons in coin collecting. Never judge a coin only by its age. A 1966 dime isn't valuable simply because it's old, and an unusual mark isn't automatically an error. You have to determine exactly what you're looking at. So if you have a 1966 Roosevelt dime, don't just look at the date and put it back in your change. Take a closer look. Check the surfaces, check the lettering, check the date, and pay attention to the overall quality of the strike. Because the real question isn't, is this a 1966 dime? The real question is, what makes this particular 1966 dime different? And in part 2, we're going to put a number on that difference. We'll look at the PCGS price information, the actual auction record, and what an exceptional 1966 Roosevelt dime has really sold for. Then we'll cover where you can sell a potentially valuable coin. and the warning signs you need to know before handing it over to a buyer. Now we come to the question everyone wants answered. How much can a 1966 Roosevelt dime actually be worth? For an ordinary circulated example, the answer is usually not thousands of dollars. That's important to understand. The big prices are associated with exceptional coins, especially examples in extremely high grades or with desirable varieties. According to the current PCGS price guide, a regular 1966 Roosevelt dime in MS grades can range from only a few dollars at lower mint state grades, up to much higher amounts at the very top of the grading scale. PCGS currently lists a 1966 MS68 example at around $725. And for the full bands designation, the numbers can be significantly higher. PCGS lists a 1966 MS68 full bands example at around $2,900. But there's something even more important than a price guide: a real auction result. PCGS records the auction record for a regular 1966 Roosevelt dime at $2,820. That coin was graded MS68, and it sold through Heritage Auctions on November 1, 2013. So yes, a 1966 Roosevelt dime really has crossed the $2,000 mark at auction. But remember, that was not an ordinary pocket change coin. It was an exceptionally high-grade example. This is why you should never see a headline about a $2,820 dime and assume every 1966 dime in your collection is worth thousands. Your coin's condition matters. Its variety matters. Its strike quality matters. And professional certification can make a major difference when you're dealing with a potentially valuable coin. So what should you do if you think you have a valuable one? First, don't clean it. This is extremely important. Cleaning can damage the original surface and potentially reduce collector value. Instead, handle the coin carefully by its edges. Keep it protected, and have it examined by someone who understands U.S. coins. You can visit a reputable coin dealer, a professional numismatist, or a trusted coin show. If the coin appears to be genuinely exceptional, you can consider submitting it to a professional grading service for authentication and grading. Once you know exactly what you have, then you can think about selling. For a valuable coin, you can compare offers from established coin dealers, reputable auction houses, and trusted online coin marketplaces. Don't automatically accept the first offer. Get more than one opinion. And now, let's talk about something that can be just as important as finding the coin: protecting yourself from a bad deal. Imagine someone contacts you and says, "Your coin is worth thousands and I'll buy it today." It sounds exciting, but don't rush. Ask how they determine the value. Ask for comparable auction results. And never trust a payment screenshot as proof that you've been paid. Fake payment confirmations, fake checks, and pressure to ship the coin immediately are major warning signs. Another warning sign is a buyer who tells you, "You have to decide right now." You don't. If a coin could genuinely be worth hundreds or thousands of dollars, take your time. Verify the coin, verify the buyer, and verify the payment. And remember, a buyer is also trying to make a profit, so their first offer may not represent the maximum amount your coin could bring.